Tonight's story is called Mr. Medal Goes Out to Tea. Once, Mr. Medal went out to tea with Sally Simple. Sally didn't know Medal as well as most people did, or she might not have asked him. He arrived at Sally's house dressed in his best clothes, obviously. He was early, and Sally Simpson was not quite ready. Sally Simple was not quite ready. "Oh, never mind, said Medal, beaming. "Just give me a few jobs to do about your house, dear Sally, and I'll be quite happy. I love helping people." Sally Simple thought what a nice fellow Mr. Medal was. "Well," she said, "you might feed the goldfish for me, if you will, and you might put some more food in the canary's cage." Certainly, said Mr. Medal. "Anything else? Those jobs won't take me long." "Well, would you put the kettle on to boil?" asked Sally. "And would you like to go and pick some ripe strawberries for tea? They are lovely just now." "I'd love to," said Medal, rubbing his hands in delight. "Strawberries! Ha! Just what I like. Have you any cream?" "There's a jar of cream in the larder," said Sally. "Now I'll just go upstairs and put on a clean blouse. I won't be long. You'll find the bird seat and the goldfish food in the cupboard over there." Sally ran upstairs, thinking it was a real pleasure to meet someone so friendly, especially someone as friendly and helpful as Mr. Medal. Mr. Medal looked at the two goldfish swimming about in their little bowl. He looked at the canary. "I'll give you your dinner," he said. Pretty things. "Tweet," said the canary, but the goldfish said nothing at all. Why didn't the goldfish say anything?
Because I don't know.
What about him being underwater? It's difficult to speak underwater, isn't it?
Yes.
And fish don't talk, do they? Medal went to the cupboard. There were 2 packets there, one of goldfish food, which was ants' eggs, or rather ant grub cocoons, and the other was canary seed. What did silly old Medal do but scatter bird seed on top of the goldfish bowl and give the ants' eggs to the canary? The canary put its head on one side and pecked up the eggs. It liked them, but the goldfish didn't like the bird seed at all. "Not hungry, I suppose," said Medal, watching the goldfish swimming about. "You haven't snapped at a single bit of your food." "Now what else was I to do? Oh, yes, put the kettle on to boil, of course." Well, what could go wrong with that? When you put the kettle on, nothing can go wrong, I suppose. Unless your name's Mr. Medal, in which case lots of things might go wrong. Medal took up the kettle and set it upon the stove. He didn't think of filling it with water. He just put it there to boil without water. Okay, that sounds bad. "Now for the strawberries," he said. He took a basket and went out into the garden. There were heaps of lovely red strawberries. It didn't take Medal long to fill his basket. He went back to the house, whistling merrily. He put the strawberries on a chair and went to look for the cream. There was a jar in the cupboard full of yellow cream. Medal emptied the cream into a jug and set it on the table. He didn't know that it was furniture cream that he'd taken out of the polish jar. No, Medal never thought of things like that. Oh my goodness me. He's taken furniture cream and not cream from the fridge. Sally Simple came down looking very nice. She beamed at Medal. "Done all your jobs?" she asked. "Yes," said Medal. "I fed the goldfish. Look." Sally looked, and then she looked again. "Do you really feed goldfish with birdseed?" she said in a rather annoyed voice. "Why did you do that, Mr. Medal? I suppose you thought it would make them sing." Like a bird, of course. Medal went red. He looked at the canary's cage, and so did Sally. "And you'd given the canary ants' eggs," she said. Well, Medal, I did think you knew the difference between goldfish and canaries, but if you don't, I suppose you can't help it." "I do know the difference," said Mr. Medal. "I shouldn't have thought you did then," said Sally. "Now, is the kettle boiling?"
Can I see?
"Is the kettle boiling?"
What?
And we're just showing a picture from the book to Aidan. All right, can I have the picture back? "Now, is the kettle boiling? It doesn't look as if it is. No steam is coming out from its spout." "I put it on ages ago," said Medal. Sally took it up from the stove. It felt very light indeed. Sally glared at Medal. "There's no water in it," she cried. "Did you expect a kettle to boil without water?" No," said Mr. Medal, feeling very foolish. "Oh, look, the kettle has got a hole burned in the bottom now, because you were silly enough to put it on without water," cried Sally crossly. "Well, what do you do next?" "I'm very, very sorry," said Medal, and he sat down on a chair feeling rather upset. And of course he chose the chair on which he had put his basket of strawberries. What do you think happened?
I don't know.
What do you think he sat on?
On the strawberry.
Exactly, he sat on the strawberries. What house would he sit on strawberries?
It was squashed.
They get squish, squish, squashed. So that's what happened. "I'm very sorry," said Medal, as he sat down on a chair feeling rather upset. And of course he chose the chair on which he had set his basket of strawberries. Squash, squash. "That's right, Mr. Medal. Strawberries are meant to be settled," cried the man. It was Sally.
Huh?
"That's right, Mr. Medal. Strawberries are meant to be not meant to be sat on, not eaten." No, that's what Sally said. "That's right, Medal. Strawberries are meant to be sat on, not eaten," said Sally scornfully. She's being sarcastic. "I suppose that's what you put them down there for, to sit on." "They're all right," said Medal, getting up and looking at the squashed basket of strawberries. "Just a bit flattened, that's all. We'll be able to eat them all right." "Well, if you want to eat strawberries which have been sat on, you can," said Sally. "But I'm not going to. Did you find the cream, or did you put out marmalade or something instead?" "If you look in the jug, you'll see. I put out cream," said Medal, very badly hurt. Sally looked into the jug. The cream looked a bit yellow to her, because it's furniture cream, not real cream for the eating. The cream looked a bit yellow to her. She smelt it, and she knew that Medal had put the furniture cream instead of the real cream. She sat down and looked for a while and smiled a little smile to herself. You are sure this cream will be all right with saffron strawberries? She asked. Perfectly all right, said Mr. Bedell. He emptied the squashed strawberries onto a plate and poured the cream all over them. Well, I tell you, squashed strawberries with fudge cream won't taste nice, I promise you. He scattered sugar on them too. Then he took a spoon and began to eat. He didn't like the first mouthful at all. Oh dear, what a dreadful taste. Must be the furniture cream tastes bad. He took another taste, but no, he really couldn't eat it. I feel ill, Sally, he said in a faint voice. I think I'll go home. Goodbye. I'll come to tea with you another day. You may not be asked, said Sally. And she shut the door behind Meddle. Poor Mr. Meddle. He didn't eat strawberries and cream again for a long, long time. The end. Any questions?
No.
So that was the story of Mr. Meddle visiting Simple Sally, and he made a lot of mistakes.
Can I listen to your stories?
All right, just one.